Well, so we're shown a moon castle. Sophie is women at the hat store and finishes. Then she takes the tram and gets to the tram station. There's a parade in the city. Sophie is looking for someone and bumps into two soldiers in the corner of the street. They're interested in her, but someone from behind comes to help her and makes the soldiers walk away. They decide to walk together to a candy shop, and the black liquid men in hats fill the street. They try to catch them, but Blondie and Sophie jump up and fly/walk to the destination. Sophie's sister Letty, the candy maker, comes to her and they discuss what happened. Night. Sophie came to the hat store and suddenly some woman with a big neck enters the building and starts to say some bad stuff about the store and Sophie. Then she confesses that she's a witch of the waste and leaves. After that, we see Sophie aged really well and became an elderly woman. She tries to calm herself down. The next day she leaves her apartment, the store and her colleagues and runs away. She gets to the mountain and finds the scarecrow. Then she goes further but sees the scarecrow after her. It gave Sophie a cane. After that, she asks him for a tent, but it brought her Hal's castle. Inside, Sophie found a fireplace and were getting warmer. Suddenly, the fire started to talk. It's a fire demon. It says that it can lift the spell if Sophie helps him to run away, but she falls asleep. The next day, a boy, helper of Hal, asks Sophie who she is, but Sophie doesn't have time to answer due to many visitors. Hal comes home and helps cooking food. He asks Sophie what she got in her pocket. She doesn't know, and the red letter spell damages the table. Hal says it's an old spell, but Sophie literally can't explain what happened to her. Sophie cleans the house because it's like really dirty. Then she and the boy have lunch next to the river. Meanwhile, Hal as a bird is flying in one of the worlds and watching the war. Then in the midnight returns home and sees Sophie in her real appearance. Morning, the boy and Sophie are at the marketplace buying food, and then they see a damaged warship full of people coming to the bay. And an enemy warplane throws some papers onto the city. At home, Hal runs to Sophie, blaming for lifting the spell of his beauty. Hal cries and the house becomes dark. In addition, he becomes a green slime. Sophie tells Hal to stop and says that she had never been beautiful at all, then runs away and cries. But Markle, the boy, and the scarecrow calms her down. Sophie and the boy watch Hal and the house brightens up. Inside his room, Hal tells Sophie that he's afraid of the witch and doesn't want to fight her. Then he gets an idea and asks Sophie to help him by telling the king that Hal is weak and he's not the one to help. By the royal palace, Sophie and transformed to the dog Hal meet the witch and they all are headed to the king. They have a race to the top of the stairs and Sophie wins, but she waits for the witch.
Okay, let it be known. I'm working hard when I ain't on the phone. This ain't a home, this ain't a phone. Grind never stopping, I'm keeping it cold, unlocking the door.
They all enter the palace and Hal runs away, Sophie after him. The witch sits on the couch and is being tortured by the light. Sophie comes to the king's fairy and finds out that the dog isn't Hal. Fairy is sad that Hal won't join them. The servants get the witch to the hall. Fairy says that she returned the witch to her real form, so now she can't do any harm. The king arrives and says he doesn't need any magicians to fight the war, but the real king enters the hall and we realize that it's Hal in fact. The fairy tries to capture them and shows Sophie the real form of Hal. He becomes a bird, but all of them escape the hall, and the dog also joins them on the plane. Kingdom's air force chases the fugitives, so Hal clones them into two plane soldiers from all the places, break into Hal's house, but it's empty everywhere. In the night, Sophie finally gets to the moon castle and does a smooth landing. In the night, Hal comes home and Sophie finds him transformed into a scary bird. Bird is the word. In the morning, everyone helps to get the plane out of the castle and Hal joins them by the breakfast. He says they need to move, and after drawing some signs, the castle changes its design and location. It appears that the castle is now located where Sophie used to work, at the hat store. Hal shows her another world and suddenly they mention air warcrafts carrying bombs, so Hal damages one. The pilots send flying frogs to get them and Hal saves Sophie by throwing it at the door. Sophie's old colleague visits her and places her purse with the fairy's spy inside, but the witch figures it out and eliminates the leech. The aircraft starts to bomb the city and the black liquid tries to capture Sophie. One of the bombs fall onto the house, but Hal saves everybody and flies away to fight. Meanwhile, the black liquids try to get inside the house, and the next 20 minutes the climax happens. I'm still not sure of how the magic door works. The colors are the portal doors. So how do you get to the war world if there are no doors? That's confusing a bit, but that's not really a problem. Also, a childish main idea that all the wars are meaningless and people fight just because we like to. Well, that's like a children family movie. What do you expect it to be? Let's better talk about what I loved about this movie.
Everything. Everything you can think of. Interesting, complete idea and story. The world isn't just existing as a location for a story. No, the characters are actually affecting it. Great, well-written characters who make you believe in everything that happens. Magnificent worlds, breathtaking fantasy locations. What can I say? The movie is just one of its kind. Watch it yourself, and doesn't matter your age, gender or political view.
But if you want to watch one of the best sci-fi and the most innovative animes in the world, then click on this video. Go enjoy the realistic future, hackers hacking governments and naked kamikaze waiting for you there. Cyberhuman pal. That's like a robotic voice or something like that. What the hell? No robots talk like that.